Hello YouTube, this is Howl On Wheels. I figured today I'd vlog from my ride home. Just got out of the office here in Tribeca in Lower Manhattan. And for today's topic, I'll discuss commuting in New York City. Come on, guy. As that's generally the first thing people ask me when I tell them I ride a motorcycle here. How do you feel about riding in New York? Aren't you scared? Isn't it dangerous? That kind of thing. And I always start the story off the same way. When I moved to New York a little over 3 years ago, I came up here with a car, and I found that to be a completely miserable experience having a car here. New York has parking laws, alternate side of the street parking laws, where every couple of days you need to move your car from one side of the street to the other side of the street so they can clean that side of the street. And in my neighborhood, that requirement is basically every other day. Mondays and Thursdays you can't park on one side of the street. Tuesdays and Fridays you can't park on the other side of the street. Basically, every day when I get home from work, this is back when I was riding the subway every day because driving to the office wasn't possible. Not where I was working up in Midtown, I couldn't park anywhere. So I'd leave the car at home, and every day I would have to come home directly from work to move my car. And if I wasn't at home at basically exactly 6 o'clock to move my car, the closest spot I would be able to find would be about a mile away. And doing this every day for about 6 months, it was miserable. I decided it was time to sell the car. So I put the car up for sale, sold relatively quick, and problem was solved. But it was the first time in my life I'd ever been without a vehicle of some sort, and that really freaked me out. Not being able to get out of town if I want to or if I need to. So I started looking into other options. I had a bicycle for a while. But riding a bicycle in New York is just terrifying as far as I'm concerned. They've got areas that do have bicycle lanes, but riding a bicycle around here and having the cars flying past so close at such a higher rate of speed really kind of scared me a bit, and I didn't really like it. Never really got into it. Bought a nice bike, probably rode it 5 or 6 times, and decided it just wasn't for me. So the bike ended up in my apartment as basically a jacket holder until I decided to finally take a shot at riding a motorcycle. Something I'd sort of always wanted to do, but never really got up the courage for. So I took the MSF course, which I highly recommend to everybody, and bought my first bike about a month later. A little Honda CB500 from one of my earlier videos. No longer have it, but it was a great starter bike. Really enjoyed it, and it introduced me to riding in New York City. And compared to riding a bike, I think riding a motorcycle feels a lot safer to me. It's a higher rate of speed, which gives me a lot more options. I take up a whole lane of space if I want to. I can move at the same speed of traffic. So it just feels a lot safer than being on a bicycle, where I need to stay all the way off to the side, where people can't hear you. They certainly aren't looking for a bicycle. I know no one's really looking for a motorcycle, but no one looks for a bicycle. And if I need to, I can get people's attention, which is nice. Can't really do that on a bicycle either. And while the city is congested and I'm stuck in traffic a lot, it really is so much more pleasant of a way to get around than taking the subway. You don't get views like this when you're stuck in a subway tunnel. Not to mention the parts of the city that just open up significantly more. It might not mean much to someone who doesn't, live in New York, but parts of Brooklyn like Red Hook and Gowanus, Williamsburg, Greenpoint, places I like to visit on the weekends, are significantly easier to get to, as opposed to having to use public transportation or paying for a taxi. And the costs are significantly lower. I figure I pay maybe $30 a month on gas, about $25 a month on my insurance, whereas a monthly Metro pass for the subway system would run me about $112 a month. This is so much more rewarding. Even the times I'm stuck on traffic, getting over these bridges, it's just so much more rewarding than being in a metal tube with hundreds of other people, and then that one guy who smells bad, or that one ass who just won't turn off the volume on their phone and needs to play their game. Oh, I can't stand that. This here is the best game I've ever played. Ride a motorcycle. Try not to die. But really, riding a bike in New York isn't so bad. Everyone asks me about the taxis, and I'll occasionally have a little bit of an issue with one who's not looking, but really it's, I haven't had too many run-ins. A couple of kicked doors, but that's really about it. After about a year riding, I thought I'd have more stories. And of course, I've just jinxed myself, I'm sure. Tonight's ride home will probably be full of idiots once we get into Brooklyn. But honestly, when I'm on the bike, in traffic, the idiots aren't so bad. The maniacs are the ones to look out for. The ones who shift lanes without looking. I get those occasionally. And of course, the biggest problem I do have riding in New York are these horrible roads. I swear to God, it's a citywide conspiracy to get the roads as bad as possible, just trying to get fewer people to drive. But really, it's so easy to get around in New York City by public transportation. I don't understand all the people who do insist on driving. And there's a lot of them. And I know a lot of these are commuters. A lot of these cars have one person in them. Whereas I can sit in traffic on my bike and still get actual enjoyment out of the experience of it because I'm on a motorcycle. I can't imagine any of these people actually enjoying the commute in a car. Now, I grew up in New Hampshire, and there's some great roads up in northern New England, so I understand the joy of driving. I know a lot of people refer to, the cars as cages, but, I find a lot of enjoyment, and I still get it out of driving when I get the chance. But that's different. That's long, windy roads and mountain vistas. But around here, stop and go, stop and go. And these cars don't get good gas mileage. I really don't see the point in it. God, where was I? What was I talking about? I got off track. So I guess cars in New York, I don't get it. Oh! Why do I ride a bike in New York City? Because it makes me look awesome. So stay safe out there, guys. Insert witty catchphrase here.